Okay. Hello, Jim.
Good afternoon. We're here in Tahiti Woods on behalf of Cornwall Council, which is who own Tahiti Woods. We're here to do some tree felling to widen the rides, which helps invertebrate species and other woodland plants. It's good for biodiversity and is more ecologically sound to have wider rides. To fell the trees today, we're not doing too big a trees, so we're able to use the bow saw to cut them down, the loppers to take off small branches, and the felling bar just to help us manipulate the tree if it gets stuck. The health and safety issues we have, there is a public right of way right next to where we're felling, and also trees falling down, that is also a problem. There are a lot of dogs, and as such some owners don't pick their dog up. Those are the issues. How we try to counteract them. We have signs at either end of the path where we're felling to warn people that we're here doing work at the moment. We have been taught the correct procedure in how we are to cut down the trees and where we're meant to stand. We also have PPE, hard hats, and we have steel toe cap boots on. And we've also got to watch out for where we're stepping, because we don't want to step in dog mess. Now, environmental considerations. I'll do that some other time, the environmental considerations, I'll think about it in a minute. It's carried out. First of all, we have been designated an area where we are to cut the trees down. We can only go so far back just to widen the ride. The trees with the yellow dots on is as far as we can go. So when we've decided which tree we're going to cut down, we line up which way we want it to land to make it as safe as possible. And we start off with a downward incision, which is the start of what is called the gob, and then another incision a quarter of the way through the tree in an upwards direction, which creates this V-shaped notch in the tree. Then from behind we start our felling cut about 1 centimetre above the gob, and we cut through the tree until it starts falling. Then we stand back. Hopefully it will land clear of any other trees. If it gets caught up, we have the felling bar to help manoeuvre it into a safer position. The problems that we have is that we're using hand tools. It makes it a lot more labour intensive. If we had winches and chainsaws, it would take a lot. It would be a lot quicker. Also, we are stacking the wood in piles, habitat piles. We may be able to, if we had more time, to cord the wood and sell it as firewood. Thank you. This has been Jim Little. Hi, we're here at Dutch College Rosewarne, and today we are clearing this area here of eucalyptus trees to make way for a willow coppice, and also to help any of the naturally seeded trees come through. We're doing that mainly because eucalyptus is a non-native tree, and it doesn't sustain a huge amount of biodiversity. the tools and equipment that we're using, we started clearing the scrub around the tree trunks with loppers and with slashers, sometimes also with maybe a bow saw, just so that we could get into the trunk, either to then start chopping away at the roots with a mat hook, and also so we could tie around the rope to use the turfer winch. The turfer winch is a fantastic gizmo that can pull up to 2 tons. The health and safety issues that we have on this site at the moment, we are using hand tools, so we need to make sure that we're working at least twice the tool length and an arm length away from each other when we're using the hand tools. We also are using wire and rope that is put to high tensile, and it could snap, causing it to ping off, hit people in the face and in the eyes. So we need to stand back there as well. We're also wearing PPE, gloves when we're handling brambles, also with steel toe cap boots on. The environmental considerations, we are removing some of the scrub and disturbing some of the soil around, but that's a lot better than if we were using a JCB. If we were using a JCB to come in and dig these out, there'd be huge tracks in and we'd be disturbing a lot more. So we're trying to minimise the amount of disturbance that we're actually doing. We're removing the stumps from the area and taking them to be burned, and that's what we're doing. The problems that we've got at the moment, we're not using the best ropes. We possibly could use chains around the trees, because a couple of the ropes have actually broken whilst we've been using them. I think if we were going to do this again, chain or wire would be the way that we'd go about it. Okay? Hi, we're here today at Gwithian Green Nature Reserve, which is a nature reserve that is locally run by normal everyday people. Today what we're doing is we're removing or coppicing willow from this area behind me to help promote an area for butterflies and wildflowers. First of all, we're starting to go with slashers. We go in and we take out the vegetation around the willow, so it's easier to get to the willow to coppice it. Then we use bow saws and loppers to take the willow out. What we do afterwards is we will make faggots, so we'll bind the willow together to make these faggots, which are easy to handle. What we'll be doing with these is we won't be wasting any of this. We'll be taking this away with us today and using it next week at Tahiti. Stop a second. Hello, we're here at Tahiti Woods a week after our coppicing at Gwithian Green, and today we are spiling. We're doing that for, well, it was Cormac. I think that's who look after it, so it's Cornwall Council who look after this site. So we're doing it on behalf of those people. Now what we're doing is we're restoring the bank by the lake here, because it's been eroded away. As you can see, there's a great big hole here, and the way that we're doing it is we're driving the stakes into the bottom of the lake, and then we're using the willow that we cut last week to weave in and out to make the bank more stable. Later on, someone's going to come along from Cormac, hopefully, and put soil down to make it more stable. Now the tools that we're using today, the main ones that we're using, if we need to make a pilot hole for the stakes, we're going to use the mushroom headed bar. To drive in the stakes, we're using a mel.
Someone walking.
For any small bits of willow that we need to chop up at all, we're using the loppers. We brought shovels just in case that we have time to put in the soil behind anyway. We've all been briefed on the safety aspects. We've got hard hats as well when we're using the mel. We're all wearing safety boots. Now the environmental considerations, we're using locally sourced willow. It would be best if it's actually used from the site, but as it's from Gwithian Green Common, it's not too far away. We're doing this mainly to protect the public from bank erosion. So these areas probably are areas where dogs have gone into the water, and we don't want children or adults falling in. If this was actually a natural habitat, what we'd want to do is we'd probably want to leave it, because an exposed bank is a natural habitat in itself. Thank you very much. Hi, this afternoon we're at Dutch College Rosewarne, and we are replanting this hedge here. It's been flailed by a tractor. It wasn't a natural hedge, it was alien species, so that's okay. But what we're doing is we are planting native deciduous trees in this area to make a hedge line. Now what we're doing is we are they've already been grown in a certain area on campus. We're digging them up, we're putting them in a pot along with a lot of their soil that they've been growing in anyway, so they've got their rhizomes that they've started growing already, plus all the other little rhizomes as well. We're bringing them here, digging a hole, putting them in the hole, making sure that the roots are underground, and then we're putting on the protective jackets to stop any herbivores from taking a chunk out of them. Now the ecological concerns for this, one thing is that we don't really know how native these trees are. They've come from a nursery in Devon or Somerset, I believe, so not completely native to this part of the world, but we are using the native type of species. We're also digging them up. They've been in the ground on campus for a year, came to the campus as whips. It would have been better if we'd planted them as whips, because they'd be a lot stronger and they wouldn't have been uprooted. But as we are, we're using 1-year-old saplings that were whips, but it would have been better if we'd used just the whips when they came here. The tools that we're using spades to do the digging. We've been taught how to use spades correctly with the proper risk assessments. We've got a wheelbarrow to transport heavy bits and pieces. We're using mattocks as well to dig through difficult roots and difficult soil. That's that. So I've told you that we've learnt all the risk assessment and the proper procedure for using these tools. We're also got steel toe cap boots on and no dresses.